Welcome back, everybody. So, to another live episode of the About That Wallet podcast. This is the very first one for the year 2024, and I am super excited to kind of take a deep dive into this. Now, one of the things that I want to say and let you guys know ahead of time is that going forward in 2024, I want to respect your time. I noticed that my shows have been like an hour long and doing these live shows, but I want to start cutting these back to about 30, 35 minutes, if not shorter. I will get on here on my live and say what I got to say and answer any questions that you guys have. And if you don't have any questions, it's cool. You know what I'm saying? This is all about you and making sure that you get the most out of this show. So let's go ahead on and get the intro rolling, which is the part I like because I actually put it together. And let's keep it nice and simple. All right, you guys. If I could find my little intro, it'd be nice. All right. What up? So let's go on in.
In a world where financial advice is as blurry as a wild night of cheap Jell-O shots, clear your head and your monetary halitosis with the About That Wallet show, hosted by Anthony Weaver. Leave those Jell-O shots for the amateurs and learn to indulge in the top shelf bottles, baby. Now, here's your host, Anthony Weaver.
Hey. So let's go on and dive into it. So one of the things that I want to talk about is the top 3 things you need to know. Let's see if we can get some little tunes here. Nah, we don't go with that. I need to get some new tunes, you guys. All right. Top 3 things that you need to know for today. One of the things that you need to know is, let's go on and share the screen so you can go ahead on and get involved with me, okay? One of the things is that, Maryland had just approved the minimum wage increase. You see that? So starting January 1, 2024, the General Assembly Fair Wage Act of 2023 increased Maryland's minimum wage from $13.25 to a whopping, drumroll please, $15 an hour, while the federal mandate minimum wage remained at $7.25 an hour, which is chapter 2, blah, blah. Now, tipped employees, now they actually get a cash wage of $3.63 an hour, though this amount plus tips must at least equal to Maryland's minimum wage rate, which means that it's actually going to be a little bit more expensive for those of you who have employers or who are employers of employees who are tipped earners. So you need to look out for that. Now, second thing, a man sues Dunkin' Donuts for 50 grand because the toilet had exploded on him.
I was reading the research. Apparently, you asked people what they wanted, and they wanted more free stuff.
I mean, where else in the world could you actually sue somebody because the toilet exploded on you? They said that the Florida man is suing Dunkin' Donuts for $50,000, claiming that the toilet at one of the locations exploded on him and covered him in feces and urine, according to the court file obtained by Fox News Digital. The plaintiff, Paul Karoak, claims the incident was traumatic and left him with sustained severe and long-term injuries. I'm sorry, but I mean, if a toilet explodes on me, I don't know. I might be suing somebody too, but you gotta give it to him. I don't know. For the exploded toilet, I'm done. I was like, nope. I'm afraid to look at every toilet. I'm like, let me just poop in a box or something. At least I know that's not going to go out on me, okay? The last thing you need to know, I ain't even sure if you even need to know these at this point, But those, you know what? The third thing is that we have the pay scale says that these are the high in demand jobs will stay hot in 2024. Okay. The jobs are, let's see if they can give it to us, which is that the trends in job searches roles suited to self-employment that were reflected in pay scales list will continue to look into 2024, quote, blah, blah, Clark projected. So they're not really saying what it is, but either way, that is a trend. But so really the trend is that a lot of people are looking to find a job that actually fits their lifestyle instead of actually looking for a job to actually work the job. So that's one of the things that I also want to bring up to light for today, that, you know, hey, a lot of people are looking for jobs right now that are impacting their lifestyle. And is that something that they really want to do? And I also want to ask you, is that something that you really want to do as you start to grow your career? And more than likely, you probably don't. So, got that out the way. All right. What's going on, Ruthie? What's going on, Wallet Coach? Thank you guys for joining me on Instagram. For those of you who are watching on YouTube, hey, I'm also on Instagram as well, and vice versa. So, you know, we're going to talk about, let's go on and start talking about the healthy saving habits. I don't want to hold you up any longer. So, got 15 minutes to run through this. The very first thing that you want to do when you talk about a healthy habit is actually take a snapshot of what you did back in December. Okay. Look at what's going on in December. And say like, all right, cool. What were the top things that I was spending money on? Was I actually over my budget? Was I on par with what I needed to do for my budget, or was I over, or did I not even have a budget? If you never had a budget before, then this is the time to talk about it. I do plan on doing another live episode to talk about a budget so that we can go through, break down the structure, and make sure that you have that happening. All right. Number 2, healthy financial habits. You need to actually eat healthy. Okay. Look at the healthy foods. There are too many things out there to say like, hey, I am sick. I'm tired of being sick. It costs too much to be having all of these issues and stuff like that. The third thing is that you want to start looking into is, why in the world am I not comfortable with myself? Why don't I like the way how life is going for me right now? What is causing me the stresses that I need to calm down and actually think about what it is that I want to do? Okay. Now, you might say, all right, being solo, being by yourself, it's lonely. I get it. It is really lonely out there. But if you really want to start thinking about your healthy habits, healthy saving habits, you need to start thinking about yourself. This is the moment in time. It's cold outside. Okay. So when it's cold, you're shivering. Hey, you might want a warm body. You might want some extra blankets. You know what I'm saying? Some people be farting under them covers. So, you know what I'm saying? Just get yourself some extra blankets. Keep yourself nice and cool. And this is the time to do that. Because we're starting off January, and this is my first live show in so long. Not so long, but first live show for 2024. I want to make sure that you guys get this. And it's only up from here. I'm actually trying to figure out something else to make this show a little bit more entertaining, but also make it sure that it's more impactful and provide you the tools that you need to get forward, to keep going. Now, when it comes to healthy habits, one of the things you need to get into is the habit of paying yourself first. I will say every financial person that you come across, or financial educator, financial coach, I'm putting the air quotes here because some people don't claim them, right? What do you say on here, Ruthie? You said body pillows are great, budget-friendly alternative. You got that right. Yeah, so if you don't want to have a person over there kicking you and everything like that and disturbing your sleep, get a body pillow. You know what I'm saying? Ruthie is on it. All right, let me see if I got my earphones over here, because I'm not even sure if Instagram can hear the music, but whatever. So with that being said, we want to make sure that you get because I had written down some things. I just want to make sure that I got rough some papers. So let's see. So you want to make sure that you pay yourself first. And I've read about 40 books this year, and that's one of the things that they keep talking about is paying yourself first as a lovely habit for your finances. Now, number 4, if you guys are paying attention, go on, type in number 4. We are talking about boundaries. You'll need to make sure that you have your boundaries set up. Your boundaries are very important to your finances to making sure that they're healthy. When it comes to your life, you know, when you go to the doctor and say like somebody going to the emergency room for anything like that, the very first thing that they say is nobody can come in here besides the physicians or the doctors or whatever, the nurses, and then maybe a immediate family member, maybe 1 or 2, and everybody else got to get out. Okay, they are setting the boundaries because they need to work on what is necessary and make sure this is an emergency that is being handled. Okay. So if you want to be healthy, you need to set your boundaries. You need to make sure, all right, cool, who in my bubble needs to kick out? Or who around me that I do not need that energy right now? I need to focus on me, okay? Ruthie, you're right. You said just spoke about this in my accountability group. Yeah, you need to set your boundaries. It's nothing like it. Even if you have an accountability group, sometimes you just don't need their energy. You just need somebody to listen to you, okay? And if you just need somebody to listen to, then just say like, "Hey, can you just be my soundboard for today? I do not need your, just your trying to solve my stuff." Set your boundaries. All right. You can just let me know what your boundaries are right now. All right. Number 5. Once you set your boundaries, okay. Now you actually gotta um pretty much repeat. I know that this sucks, but you gotta repeat your boundaries to your people. You gotta let your people know. Okay. Be like, and one of those boundaries, say if your boundary is like, hey, I want to spend less this year than what I did last year, because you already had taken a snapshot of your budget. You noticed you spent so much. Now is the time that you actually want to set your boundaries and say, like, when I go out to eat, I'm only getting French fries and something to drink just so I could be out with everybody. Okay. That's what I want you to start thinking about, is these different type of ways that you can actually set your boundaries and let people know. All right. So repeat them and continue to repeat them to let your friends know, because this is what you need to do. Number 6. If you follow along with me, go on, type in number 6, or you can say number 6 out loud, which is a healthy one. You need to give yourself grace. The reason why I say give yourself grace is because you live once. And if you're constantly digging into your everyday activities and stuff like that, and you always look, you know what, I gotta save this money. I'm going home, I'm going to work, I'm meal prepping, and then I'm going back to work, and repeat. To most people, that might sound boring, but when you're on a mission, this is the best thing that you possibly can do. However, it can cause stress in yourself and cause stress to others around you. But do you really care about them? This is a personal thing. So you need to think about yourself. Are you actual people person and you are a people pleaser? It might not be for you or for everybody. Now, for those of you who are watching me on Instagram, you see me keep looking up. I want to make sure that because this is recorded for YouTube. So trust me, I'm reading the comments if I see on both ends. So I just want to make sure I see you guys. But coming to a realization that, you cannot give up on yourself. You need to treat yourself to some degree. Set alongside, even though you're paying yourself first, set aside a little bit of extra dollars to splurge on. You can have a fun fund in your finances. It's almost like necessary. You need to actually relax, take a break, take a breather, go on vacation, change your environment, just get out of the grind a little bit. Because if you think about it, a person that's constantly grinding on a piece of ice as an ice sculpture, they're going to be left with just ice shavings. But if you grind, take a moment, step back, be like, I like this right here. I like this. Let me go on and take the another approach here. And what you're doing is that when you look at a block of ice in an ice sculptor, they are revealing the art within the block of ice. They didn't create, they in a sense created the ice, being the sculpture, but they are actually showing you what exactly is available beneath the block. So this is what you're doing right now. You're actually giving people the opportunity to see what you see inside of a block of ice or a marble if you're a sculptor or something like that. This is something that's very important. Ruthie, you're right. You said mental health and self-care is so important. You cannot forget this in your finances. This is about healthy saving habits. If you're really prioritizing yourself, you're prioritizing your finances and also your habits. All right, number 7, because we gotta get through these. After you give yourself grace, now you want to start thinking about, um, you know, new habits or new habits or new routines. Because when you listen to, most of the time they say, so when it comes to habits, really they talking about your routines. Okay, you'll hear a lot of people say, oh yeah, change your habits, change your habits, change your habits. Everybody's out there in the world, everybody that's selling you a product or a service is actually helping, is trying to help you change your habits without you even knowing that you're changing your habits. I'm teaching you the game behind the curtain of marketing. Okay, when you go to the grocery store, you'll see that actually just now in PG County in Maryland, they actually start charging people $10 a bag, like a grocery bag. So you go to grocery shop and you didn't even think about it. Oh yeah, well, whatever. They got bags up front. Realizing that they're charging you $10 per bag that you're using. And because of that, it's changing everybody's habit. Now that trigger is when they get ready to go to the grocery store, they have to make sure that they bring a bag or they're going to get charged or fined, depending on how you want to look at it. For they're going to get fined for not bringing their own bag, or they're going to get charged for the new paper bag. So you need to make sure that you start looking at those habits and those triggers. So what's happening is that your trigger now for going to the grocery store, like I said, in PG County, they just changed it. When you go inside the store, you got to make sure you bring it back. This is going to be your routine. Grocery store, bring the bag. Make sure you bring your bag. That's part of your routine. That's going to become a habit. You're constantly doing it. Now, once you got your bag, you go inside the store, you shop or whatever, and your reward is, this is part of the habit loop, which is where you have the trigger, your routine, and the reward. It's just a small loop. I didn't make this up. This is actually done by Charles Duhigg. This is how you start to realize what are the things that you need to know. So everybody is actually constantly trying to change your habit when it comes to your culture, the way how people talk, right? So you and I, we can sit here and chat all day about blase, but when it comes to us going inside our corporate jobs or we trying to reach certain people, we change our language up, we change our lingo, and it's part of code switching. This is something that we kind of do. And when it comes to that code switching, hey Renita, what up, Renita? Thank you for joining. So Renita, you're an amazing code switcher, by the way. But what's what we kind of talking about here when it comes to building your habits? Your settings become your triggers, and then your routines is how you actually start talking. Then your reward is that you actually get what you're able to get from out of the people or convey the message or whatever you're there for at that moment in time. You need to think, oh, come on, not the sad face of me. But you got to think about it. You know, I'm being honest. I'm being honest. Like, you cannot tell me any person that's out here not code switching. Some people that don't code switch, it's sometimes you'll think like, okay, something's wrong with them, and usually they more likely have some type of disability or whatever. They try to label them because they don't have that mindset or that notion to actually change doing their stuff. Yep, the cue, the craving, the reward, and repeat. That is the second part of the habit loop that Charles Duhigg was talking about. Because I do like that, the craving part of it, but it also becomes addicting. And this is where you want your habits to also start becoming your identity. Because my habits now are so entwined to my identity that when I go to certain people and I'm up here acting all fun and everything like that, they was like, that's not you. Like, who is this? Who is this Anthony? I never met this Anthony before. And that's because I code switch all the time. Like, when I first meet you, I ain't gonna be crazy. Like, who is this? Like, what am I? What am I? Like, yeah, you see me online or whatever, and yes, you might meet me from time to time, but it is what it is. But I will switch up depending on what's necessary. And it's because either A, I want to make sure that you get the information that you need. Either I'm just having a great time, I'm relaxed, my hair's down. Literally, my hair doesn't go down because it is a how can I say, hair that does not defy gravity, the hair that defies gravity, shall I say. All right. So we got 7 out the way. Talking about the cues and everything like that, understanding your triggers and habits. Number 8. I know we kind of talked about it. Number 7 was your habits, which is understanding like how Ruthie said here on your cravings. So habits or cravings. But now let's start to talk about those cues. Okay, you need to understand your cues. What are the things that actually tick you off? Okay, what are those things that cost you money? And when I say cost you money, which means that you default to your old habits, your old ways, the things that got you to not realize where you at. Okay. What I'm talking about that is, think about it this way. Somebody who's short tempered, they short tempered, and you can go over there to them and be like, hey, did you hear about did you hear about everybody's triggered about the politics. So they was like, oh, did you hear that the Republicans said this about the Democrats yesterday? And it was like, oh, like dumb stuff. These are the things that cause people to get triggered, right? So like if you think about a habit, you're like, hey, I have a cue is like seeing my friend, right? Or that person I know that's triggered all the time. Now my habit or my routine, or as Ruthie put it here, the craving, is for me to go over there and be like, hey, did you actually hear what the Republicans said about the Democrats? And they were like, oh, and then like, just because you already know what they're going to do because you just triggered them. So you got to realize that this is fun when you think about it from an abstract way, of that your routines are actually triggers to other people's routines. So like my routine is actually coming, like my trigger is, okay, 8 o'clock, I need to make sure that I press live and go live. Now, my routine is actually try to convey you some information. Now, because I went live, which is part of my routine, you guys been triggered to come on. And now, since your cue and your trigger is there, now your routine is to actually come on and log on either on Instagram or even on YouTube or Facebook or Twitch, wherever I'm streaming. So you got to think about it that way. And it's really cool. It's almost like a domino effect when you really take a step back at it and just look at it from a perspective of how nature acts and reacts to the way that you operate. Okay. And then number 9, I want to slide on over because we did habits, cues, and also we got to talk about the rewards. These are because, again, we talking about healthy saving habits, right? Your reward for self, because this is the topic, is that when it comes to healthy habits, you want to make sure that your rewards are bountiful. You want to make sure that scratch that itch, as you would say. For some of you, it might be, you know what, I just love to see $10,000 in my bank account, right? You know what I'm saying? This is what the thing you want to do. So when it comes to those rewards for those healthy saving habits, is that what I want you to start thinking about today is that when you go through steps 1 through 8, number 9 is ultimately what you're looking for. You want to get that feeling. Oh, look, you want to get the reward. Is that like, hey, I achieved X because I was able to save. Like my cue is, hey, it's the beginning of the year, and the routine is okay. Now we gotta okay. Thank you so much for coming through. Renita, greatly appreciate you. We definitely gotta get you on the show one day, one of these days. So we gotta catch up. All right, see ya. So one of the things is that when it comes to your rewards, you want to make sure that the reward is worth it. When you go in throughout the year, you're setting up your routine now. Okay, every year I want to start something new, or every year I want to change my habits. I want to change my cravings for certain things. Like now that we are in 2024, you're craving new things. You want to crave a different experience. You want to crave what it is that will take you to that next level. And that is where I want to help you out at, because those rewards will be bountiful if you're putting in the effort, trying out something new, knowing your levels of difficulty and things that you're willing to put yourself through and you're not willing to put yourself through. So I really want to help you to find your goals and get there. So every episode that I'll be putting out from this point on are geared towards pretty much life in general, and make sure that you have everything that you need. Okay. So, all right, we got 9 things. Number 10. The 10th thing in your financial healthy habits. Let me get my notepad because gotta make sure this is right. Number 10 is to give. If you want healthy saving habits, you need to start thinking about giving. And what I mean by giving is that you don't have to give money. You're giving time. And some people will argue that time is money. But however, money can continue to make money and make more friends. The way how money is making more friends, you need to make more friends. And by making more friends, I mean like you need to give out, you need to give your knowledge. Knowledge is always gained, but it's never lost. Unless you get into multiple accidents or whatever, like that has happened. Where you start having a short-term memory versus long-term memory, and then that can affect your cognitive dissonance with life and society and so forth. But we're not going to get into that. What we're going to get into is giving. In order for you to have healthy relationships with your finances and make sure that you have these habits, the habit of giving is definitely one of the things that you want to start looking into. You want to make sure, Vern, I'm not sure if you're still here and watching, but I know, Vern, you give your 100% self to every time, to anybody that listens, and every morning that you go live, you have your morning prayers. You give, you give thanks to everybody that's been supporting you. You're always giving back to your followers and so forth. And one of the things that I like about what Vern is doing was Elevate with Vern. If you guys haven't followed her yet, check her out on Instagram, and also she's available on YouTube as well. But she is constantly giving out information and so forth. But the thing about it, when it comes to your finances, you can give a little. And I think Cat Williams recently talked about it, is that he gave, like he was just using it as an example. If he went to somebody's city and they gave him $100,000, he's going to go to a homeless person and give them $10,000 if he just got $100,000 just for being in that city. This is what Cat Williams do to kind of give back. And because he's able to give back, hey, what's going on, Danielle and BP? Thank you guys for coming through. Greatly appreciate y'all. You know what I'm saying? Sorry for the Baltimore accident. You know, we got the throughs, you get the twos, the long use, and everything like that. So, but we're talking about giving back with your healthy financial habits to continue to give. Oh, and Danielle, you give a lot away as well. And also you enjoy receiving. So, you know, giving could be one of those things that it really depends on the person on how they like to receive their gifts. Some people like to receive their gifts by acts of service. Some people like it just by monetary gifts. Some people like in BP, you do an awesome job of giving out like you willing to help, and that's one of the things I do like about what you do in the space is that you're constantly giving out the um the energy. Like you give energy. How can I say it? Like you're also like always giving out great energy. I don't know, I'm always having a good time when we hanging out. So one of the things is that when it comes to your finances, you need to make sure that when you ready to give, you give and give without expecting things. And that's one of the things that hurts a lot of people is when it comes to gifts giving or even just giving in general. They always expecting something back. Do not expect anything back because tomorrow's never promised. Okay. If you're expecting something back, that's not a gift. Then you need to write a contract out or have an agreement between you and whoever. Because if you're giving, you're giving. And that's what I want you to start thinking about when you start dealing with your when it comes to giving. All right, so we're gonna run through the list one more time, and I think that's all I have for you today when it comes to healthy saving habits. Number one, I totally forgot about. I should have wrote my number one. My number one and number two got me. But some of you guys can always play rewind on YouTube. Just kind of remind me here. So I'm gonna say number one is to actually create a budget. And create the budget, which means I'm taking a snapshot from last month. Number two is to I say like self-reflection. Self-reflection. Number three is pay yourself. Number four is set your boundaries. Number five, repeat those boundaries to the people that you talk to or whatever. Make sure you repeat those boundaries. To make sure, because you got to set them solo. You gotta be by yourself setting your boundaries. Now, like I said, number four is setting the boundaries by yourself, solo. This is me, my me time. It's what I got to do. Number five is now repeating those boundaries. What I mean by repeating them, you letting other people know. You gotta let the world know these are my boundaries. I'm not going out to eat. I'm not going out to drink. I'm saving my money because I want to get out of debt. Either A, I want to get out of debt. I want to actually just see $10,000 in the bank. That's all. Some people just want to save just to see money in the bank. It's okay. You can do that. Number three, like some people just like to be able to buy their mom a house or buy them a car or buy them something. Okay. So, repeat your boundaries, set them, and just let people know, like, hey, if you're going out, I'm only getting fries and a drink. That's what I do. It's okay. I have a good time. Now I might have multiple drinks if Kamari not on here. All right, cool. I ain't gotta worry about him. Because he always saying I'm getting his wife drunk just by having a drink. Number six, give yourself grace. Treat yourself. Set up a fun. Go ahead on and have a great time. Number seven, start thinking about your habits. Start thinking about your routines. What's going on? You know what I'm saying? Why do you do what you do? Why am I constantly brushing my teeth from right to left? Why do I brush my teeth with my right hand? Why don't I switch to my left hand? Like, start looking at the things that you do in your routine. Now, I know I'm making fun about brushing your teeth, but you also got to think about your spending habits the same way. Why am I only saving money inside a regular bank account? Why am I not using the high yield savings account? Is that because that's what I was taught? Or is that because I don't know anymore? These are the things you need to start thinking about. So when it start, hey, what's going on? Virginia, thank you for joining. So think about those habits. Like, what those things are you doing right now? If your saving habits are horrible, start talking to other people. Like, what are they doing to save better? Start thinking about those things. But in order to do that, that's where number 8 comes in, which is start looking at your cues. What are the things that trigger you to start spending money? What are those things that are causing you to not save or not stay on par? Now, I didn't talk about this, but I might have to bring this up in the later in the month. But it's called HALT, HALT, which stands for hunger, angry, lonely, and what would the T stand for? It's timely or something like that. I gotta look that up again. But HALT, you need to make sure you look that up. I might do a full episode just on that, which if you don't understand what halt is, it actually could cause you to rebound and start doing those bad habits again. All right, so we got Q set up. Number 9 is those rewards. What do you want to reward yourself with? Why are you even doing what you're doing now? So when it comes to like brushing your teeth, obviously your reward is to have clean teeth, clean breath. When you start talking to people, you know what I'm saying? Like when you start doing your code switching, your habits, when you start talking to people, you need to make sure you got some clean breath. Thank you. Thank you so much, Danielle. Thank you so much. Yes, tired. The T is for tired. HALT. Hungry, angry, lonely, and tired. These are the things that could actually cause you to go backwards and regress into your old ways. You do not want to do that. Not too many people talk about halt. I think I'm like one of the only people that actually talk about it openly. There are maybe 3 or 4 other people, not even that, that I've heard talk about it since I've been studying habits and so forth. So yeah, continue to watch show. I'll try to get more info. All right. Talked about the rewards. And number 10, which is giving. Make sure that you give without expecting anything back. That's the thing that you want to do. Oh man. All right. I've been talking for about 45 minutes. You got y'all 3 things you need to know. If you got any value out of this, make sure that you go ahead on and go to aboutthatwallet.com/newsletter. I want you to be part of the newsletter, get new information about what's going on, new episodes that are coming out. And also I want to make sure that you all get the information that you need. So besides the newsletter, I got a couple things coming up. I do have an episode with Bernadette Joy. If you go to @Bernadette, like you're in debt, Joy, I have her episode should be coming out next Tuesday. We're going to be talking about that. That's going to be a great time. So we're talking about crushing your money goals, which is perfect timing. And then tomorrow, that I'm actually doing a recording. I'm not sure if I'm going to do a side recording so you guys can actually get a sneak peek, but I will be recording with no other than Aaron Thomas, who is the prenup. He owns a website called prenup.com, but he is also a divorce lawyer. So we'll be talking about prenups, postnups, relationship conversations, stuff like that. So if you have anything that you want to have questions about prenups and postnups, shoot me a DM, or you can shoot me an email at info@aboutthatwallet.com. I want to make sure that your questions get heard so that we can get this all together. Okay, so Danielle, you say, well, thank you, BP, for telling me congratulations on my newsletter. You know, I've been putting a lot of work into those. I need to start doing those more and more because I was doing monthly, and then now I want to start doing weekly ones that will actually encompass the episode that are coming out. So it's just kind of like a short snippet of what's going to be inside that particular episode. So when you go to watch it. Okay, so Danielle says, been on only a few minutes, and I'll have to go back and watch the whole thing. Always dropping gems. I got your newsletter as well. Oh, thank you so much, Danielle. Yeah, watch it on YouTube. I will be deleting it from Instagram. So, you know, because I don't need to fill up my timeline with my face talking about these, because a lot of people don't stay on Instagram long enough to watch these, especially on the replays. All right. So we got that. So yeah, so I got a lot of things going on. I'm planning on trying to change in the intro to the show, and because right now I'm not in my new year. The new year for the podcast is June, so the new year, the calendar new year, isn't my new year for the podcast. So looking for a lot of that stuff to come, and also working on. I do have a book. I just put out my first digital low content book that you can actually buy on Amazon right now. It's just called a habit journal to help you start talking about the habits and so forth that you can start thinking about your cues, your habits, and your rewards. And also, I started talking about how you feel because a lot of times, guys, we are told to keep our feelings inward, and obviously, I'm saying like 83% or whatever, but a lot of women actually, I'll say a lot, not all, would actually are good at expressing their feelings. And so it'll be a little easier for your women to actually go through the habit journal to start talking about what they can do and how it can actually impact them and so forth. Once I get my copy in, I'll actually start, doing a couple of those just to kind of show so everybody else like that. Drop a name, where's the link? I'll push I'll send you the link directly. Like I said, I haven't really been pushing it because I really want to write my book. It's a habit book and a habit reference book. And then I want to have the journal to go along with the book. So I dropped the journal first because I felt as though that's something that you don't really need much context to get started with that. But when it comes to the actual book itself that I'm working on, that one I plan to have it released in October. So by that time frame, you'd be like, okay, now I see what you're going with this, and you can actually get your book that way. It is 100 pages long, and you have let me see if I can find it. You know what? I think I do have it in here. I have it in my thing. I'm gonna close out on YouTube, you guys. Thank you so much for coming on the show. You guys on Instagram, you can stay just a little bit. I'm gonna put the link inside here. But if anything, thank you so much. Y'all be safe as always. Be safe, be happy, and be healthy. Yeah, I like that little 3 outro. All right, you guys take it easy. Peace.